like and subscribe right now, or you're going to have bad luck for the rest of the week.
Mermaids are probably one of the most fascinating cryptids that we have here on Earth. Millions of people believe in their existence, and some have even claimed to have caught real footage of them. Let's take a look at 10 times that allegedly prove the existence of these magnificent beings. Make sure to stay tuned for number 1. It's probably the best footage you'll ever see. Number 10. Mermaid of Gokwe and Osborne Dam, Zimbabwe. Just like in Indonesia, half human and half fish creatures have a special name, the mamba, muntu. The appearance is usually associated with a bad omen as per the local myths and beliefs. And going by incidents in 2012, this might not be much of a myth, but rather a fact. Construction workers were getting down at a site, setting up the Gokwe and Osborne dams on the Odzi River, and they encountered the infamous mamba muntu. It was just one, but was such an inconvenience to the whole crew. According to reports, the mermaid appeared to have been pissed for some reason and took it out on the workers. The workers had to abandon the project along the way because of the aforementioned beliefs. They made it clear that resuming their duties on the dam was out of the question, but the project had to be completed, so the local authority enlisted the labor of white workers. This was under the pretext that the laborers didn't care much about the mamba muntu's bad rap. How mistaken they were. The second batch had to also leave due to all the harassment by the mermaid. The work had to stop for some time. Traditional leaders were called in to perform a set of rituals aimed at appeasing the angry mermaids. Number 9. Key Island Mermaid, Indonesia. The mermaid sighting in the Indonesian island of Key came at the height of World War II. It's probably one of the most well-documented mermaid appearances to date. Here's what went down. The Japanese had stationed a surveillance troop on the island, but what they ran into over time had nothing to do with the war. Several soldiers reported seeing rather strange sea creatures sporting human-like features. The humanoid figure could have been approximately 150 centimeters in length. Both the hand and feet were webbed, and their heads and spines. The mouths had spiny teeth, like those you'd expect in carps. The face on the other side was said to be a blend of human-like and ape-like features, and they also had hair, shoulder-length hair, as described by a Japanese sergeant who was called to observe a dead one. The Japanese soldiers spotted these animals playing around in the water and would occasionally beach themselves. When the soldiers brought up these sightings with the locals, they were told the creatures were commonplace on the island. They even had a name, Orenkai, which translates to human fish. Number 8. Vermont Museum. If you are interested in creepy fossils, you must look at the Fiji mermaid in the National Museum of Grafton, Vermont. The classic Fiji mermaid was found in a fraternal lodge in Vermont and was transferred to the National Museum. This ugly creature has all the characteristics of a Barnum hybrid and all sorts of animal parts combined to form an ugly-looking creature. It has the tail of a fish that we'd expect to see on a classic mermaid and the torso and head of a juvenile monkey. One of the weird features about this mermaid is that it has a mustache. Now, we do not have much research or evidence if a mermaid could actually have a mustache, but it can always be a merman, right? Many researchers say that this is just a monkey and not a mermaid, but if that's the case, what kind of monkey has a fish-like tail? The museum, however, doesn't keep the mermaid out at all times and keeps it safe in their basements and only brings it out to display at special occasions. And we could imagine why. It is so ugly and creepy that it would scare away small children and other visitors, and nobody would want a creepy little creature to ruin their trip. Number 7. South Island Mermaid, New Zealand. Fishing is a major economic activity in any community near a natural water body, but sometimes it's not only the fish that are caught on those fishing lines. The fishermen on South Island, New Zealand, for instance, caught a suspicious-looking animal in 2014. At first, they thought they'd stumbled on a dead person's body, maybe murdered and their body dumped into the ocean. They called the New Zealand Coast Guard, who in turn alerted the local authorities about the strange-looking corpse. The local authorities, on close observation, concluded that the remains weren't entirely those of a human being. There was no denying there were parts with an uncanny resemblance to those of humans, but on the other hand, there were entirely different parts that you're likely to see on an aquatic animal. It was a bizarre find, and naturally one that got people talking across the whole of New Zealand. The police were just as puzzled as the general public. To help with unraveling the mystery behind this find, they enlisted the help of forensic and anthropological experts from the University of Auckland. To this day, the skeleton remains one of the most real mermaid finds. Number 6. Captain Richard Whitbourne. Richard Whitbourne was an explorer, writer, and colonist of the 16th and 17th centuries. He was an experienced person, not someone who was influenced by fairy tales and fantasies. But in 1610, off the coast of Newfoundland, he describes his encounter with a mermaid who was swimming happily towards the boat he and his crew were sailing on in the sea. He said that the mermaid swam quickly, sometimes jumping in the water, and then rose from above, enough to let him look at her bare shoulders and back. He claimed that he did not look at her face though. Number 5. Active past mermaid. When the mermaid was seen on the shore of Main Island in 1967, British Columbia became the center of enthusiasm for mermaids. One night, the ferry driver saw a blonde woman sitting on the beach, naked, with a long blonde hair and a dolphin tail. Some witnesses were very frustrated because they thought they saw the mermaid eating raw salmon on the beach that day. After being observed by the ferry passengers, tourism increased at the site. Could this be a trick to attract tourists? Number 4. British beach mermaid. If pictures don't convince you that mermaids are real, then believers will go to any length to prove their point. At first glance, this mermaid sighting looks quite promising, even if it looks somewhat gruesome. These photos were captured by a man named Paul Jones in Great Yarmouth in Great Britain. He captured what looked like a decaying body with a fishtail, and the corpse was pretty much intact. However, if you look at it closely, you'll see that the tail of this creature looks as if it's made up of a black plastic bag. People still argue about this image as it went viral on social media, and no one knows what it actually is. Some even say that it's nothing but a seal. What do you guys think? Number 3. Jersey Devil. Now, this is not a story of a mermaid, but a creature that is a lot more terrifying. The story of the Jersey Devil is an authentic folk legend. It is as varied as the number of people who claim to have seen or heard him. For over 250 years, tales have circulated about the nocturnal ramblings of a creature emerging from the mists of a lonely, desolate marsh. As interest in the supernatural has grown, tales of the Jersey Devil have grown to blend folk belief with South Jersey history. One of the most famous stories tells of a place called Leeds Point. On a stormy night in 1735, a Quaker woman gave birth to a child during a thunderstorm. The room flickered with candlelight, the wind howled. Some believed her to be a sorceress. The impoverished woman known as Mother Leeds was believed to have many other children, as many as 12. Some say the child was born deformed. Some say she cursed the child because of her dire state. Other accounts say the child was born normal and took on odd characteristics later. Characteristics such as an elongated body, winged shoulders, and large horns. Number 2. The Kiryat Yam Mermaid. In 2009, mermaid fever swept through the Israeli town of Kiryat Yam as a mermaid was making appearances at dusk, regularly performing tricks for locals and tourists alike. People in the town claimed to have seen a creature that was part young woman and part fish. The first local to have seen the mermaid said that she was sunbathing, and as he and his friends went towards her, she leapt from the sand and disappeared amongst the waves. They were all bewildered to find out that the sunbathing woman had no legs, but instead had a tail. The sighting was not one of its kind because the word spread about the mermaid. Hundreds of people came forward saying that they had seen the Kiryat Yam Mermaid. The Kiryat Yam Mermaid has become so famous that the town council has offered a $1 million reward for even a shred of proof of this mysterious creature's existence. So far, only passing glances have been noted, and no one has an extra $1 million in their bank account. Number 1. Cave cave swimming. A man posted a video in 2016 which was captured while he was diving in a cave in Cancun, Mexico. After he went underwater, he saw a silhouette of a creature with features of a human from the waist up, but a fish-like body from the waist down. In the video description, he basically said that he captured the real footage of a mermaid and that he's sure that the mythical creatures are real. The video is truly impressive, but looks as if it's too good to be true. The video description says that other people were in the cave, but he was the only one with a camera. Due to the lack of publicity and information, we can confidently say that this video is a hoax and has nothing to do with reality. Do you believe in mermaids? Let us know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.